Hi everyone, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Anna, and you're listening to We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, a podcast hosted by us, a married couple with an endless love for TV.
Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or wanting to revisit an old classic, let us be your guide through the infinite list of TV shows.
So come join us every Friday as we discuss the pilot for a TV show while also sharing personal stories that parallel the storylines.
We Judge a Show by Its Pilot, where your new favorite show is just one click away. Hello everyone, welcome back to our pod.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
We are recording on a Friday.
That's why you said happy Friday.
But I could have been just saying because they're listening on a Friday.
Right, you are listening to this, well, hopefully you're listening to this the day it comes out.
Of course.
The day it's uploaded. We are recording, we are early, well not, I guess some would call this early in the morning. We are morning recording. Anna's about to go on Anna's about to have another 2-week stint of traveling, so we are trying to get all these episodes recorded until, just to get us caught up, get us ahead. And then while you're gone, I'm just going to be by myself editing these episodes and, being by myself.
Oh, yeah. Next week is kind of bad. I will be gone from Sunday to Thursday afternoon. And then the following week, I am gone Monday to Thursday.
Yes.
To
Thursday. Oh, that's what I have on
to
my
Friday. Yeah, I come home Friday morning.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I need to add a day then.
Yeah. So that's a whole Monday to Friday, and then Sunday. Yeah, so 5 days.
And then we wanted to free up our Saturday because we're going to see The Long Walk tomorrow, which I'm very excited about.
I'm very stressed out about it already. I don't know what it's going to be like. It's a Stephen King, right?
Yeah, it's Stephen King. It's one of his first novels.
Yeah, so
from the late 70s. It is kind of the Hunger Games before there was a Hunger Games, before there was a book. So
true.
And it's the same director that did the Hunger Games movies.
Oh,
is
wow.
Directing it, Francis Lawrence. Yeah, so it should be pretty exciting. Your boo from Alien Romulus is in it, and Mark Hamill is in it. And, it's one of the first Stephen King books I ever read, and I remember reading it being like, kind of like Gerald's Game, where it's like, this would be a really good movie if they could pull it off, because Gerald's Game, it's just a woman in bed the whole time.
Yes,
it's all in her head. And The Long Walk, it's like, okay, well, just a bunch of people walking. Like, how can you make a movie about that? But they made it happen.
It looks really amazing, and I feel like directing and movie making, I know we're doing TV shows on this pod, but we both also love movies.
Right.
But I feel like directors have gotten like super creative with things these days. Like, it was just as simple as that movie Drop that we watched a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking, like, how long could this possibly go on?
Yeah.
Having dinner, and then this person is harassing you on, your cell phone during dinner. And I was just like, how are they going to do this? And it was really, really well done.
Did you know the origin of Drop, where it came from? So, we are huge fans of Smosh. It's actually based on something that happened to Olivia Sway, and Sam Lerner and his friend pitched the idea to this writer and director who did Truth or Dare, which Sam Lerner was on, but it was when they were in, I think, Europe or something like that, and they were at a restaurant, and someone just kept airdrop messaging Olivia like memes, and so she started like messaging memes back just to see if she could like find out who it is, and then the memes got like a little weirder, and so it was just like, of course this would happen to Olivia, and so Sam and his friend were just like, that would actually be like a really cool idea for a movie, and so they pitched it to the makers of Truth or Dare.
Did they ever find out who it was?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Never found out.
That's creepier.
She talked about it on URL, the show that Courtney hosts.
Does, yeah.
So it was actually really interesting. Off topic, but since it's Smosh related, I figured you would be interested in that.
Of course.
And the movie,
and Olivia.
And the movie was so good. So, I mean, it was such a good movie. All right, but we are not talking about movies. We are not talking about horror, thriller, suspense movies, although I could do a whole podcast series about that. Today, we are continuing Musical Month, and we are doing... I feel like this is our first, I would say, like, traditional musical that we're doing this month. It's really, when we kind of looked at the list of TV show musicals, it was kind of hard to find like an actual musical where people are bursting out into song and it's like not, it's like a part of the dialogue, but it's not like being mentioned. In Glee and in Smash, it's within the confines of like a Glee Club or a Broadway musical. So the singing isn't just bursting into song. It's like it makes sense why they're
part
singing.
Of the narrative.
Exactly. But with this, although it's still a little different, it was really hard to find just like a traditional musical that was also a TV show. It's actually like not impossible, but I didn't really find that many, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
It was just very.
Which is also good that we're down to like 4 or 5 episodes a month.
Oh, we would have been struggling with this month if we were doing 9 episodes, which for those that miss our 2 episodes a week, we don't. So I mean, like I feel like we have so much more fun and we look forward to recording and we have so many more questions and stories to tell. We feel like we were stretching out a lot with some shows, especially when we're on like our 9th show for the month.
Oh gosh, yeah, and you were just exhausted too.
Yeah, I mean, like, in editing has been a lot more fun. Smash is going to be coming up today, and that's a really great episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, I just listened to it. I just edited it yesterday, and we had a lot of fun recording that. And we're going to have a lot of fun on this episode because this show was, I mean, I would say a pretty creative way to have a musical show. Today we are doing Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, a show that I was kind of aware of. I remember the previews for it. I remember it because of the cast, because I remember seeing like previews for it and then seeing the cast, and so I'm just like, oh, well, that's a great cast, but I just never got around to watching it. January 7th, 2020, that was right before the world went nuts. So, I mean, like,
yeah,
that was about 2 months, like, 2 months before the world went to shit. So, that was kind of probably a big thing. But yeah, we both watched this and we'll kind of tell you what we thought about it in a little bit. But before we do that, Anna's going to give us some episode and series information.
All right. Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist pilot, Zoey's Extraordinary Power. Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist was an American jukebox musical comedy drama that aired on NBC from January 7th, 2020 to May 16th, 2021 for 2 seasons and a total of 25 episodes. The series was created by Austin Winsberg, a producer and writer who worked on various TV shows such as Gossip Girl, Jake in Progress, and Still Standing. The pilot was written by Winsberg and directed by Richard Shepard, who directed several other shows like Ugly Betty, Girls, Salem, and The Handmaid's Tale. Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist centers around Zoey Clark, an introverted software programmer who, after a mishap involving an earthquake and an MRI machine, discovers she can hear everyone's innermost thoughts through song. As the series progresses, Zoey becomes more confident in herself and begins to use her new power as a way to reach out to people who may need help. The series stars Jane Levy as Zoey Clark, Skylar Aston as Max Richmond, Zoey's co-worker and best friend, Alex Newell as Mo, Zoey's gender-fluid neighbor who tries to help Zoey understand her power, John Clarence Stewart as Simon, Zoey's co-worker and crush, Peter Gallagher as Mitch Clark, Zoey's father, who suffers from a neurodegenerative disease, leaving him unable to speak. Mary Steenburgen as Maggie Clark, Zoey's selfless and positive mother. Lauren Graham as Joan, Zoey's boss. And Andrew Leeds as David Clark, Zoey's brother. Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist received mostly positive reviews, and even though it wasn't an instant hit, gained popularity as the first season progressed. After the end of the second season, producers for the show attempted to move the series over to Peacock due to low viewership, were unsuccessful, and the series was canceled. A film was released through the Roku channel in December 2021 titled Zoey's Extraordinary Christmas. Many of the cast and crew have expressed interest in a revival due to the show achieving somewhat of a cult status on streaming. There have been rumblings of a revival, but nothing has come to fruition. You can currently watch the series on Peacock and the film on the Roku channel.
Yeah, so this is a show that, so with Smash, I feel like there's this huge cult following, and with Zoey's, I feel like there's this, like, it's one of those shows that has, like, a small but, like, really loyal fan base, like one of those kind of shows, which I find equally as charming. But yeah, I was surprised by this show. I was kind of surprised that, I mean, and we'll kind of get more into it when we go through the episode summary, but I was kind of surprised that I got so emotionally invested by the end. Like, there's a reason, and obviously I'll talk about when we do the plot summary, but I mean, first of all, this cast, I mean, like, this cast is and top tier.
I didn't do a lot of looking into this show before we did it. Like, some of them I just knew because of in the zeitgeist of, TV world. But this one, I maybe had heard of it vaguely in 2020, but we didn't watch it, and I didn't really know anything about it until we watched it. Like, I didn't look anything up. I didn't look up episode details. I just watched it completely fresh. So I was very surprised by Mary Steenburgen,
Peter Gallagher,
Lauren Graham, Skylar Astin. I mean, I was like, I love all these people.
Alex, is it Newell or Newell?
I don't know.
Oh, I love them.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so Alex was on. Okay, so Alex was on Glee. They played Unique Adams on Glee, who was a transgender character. I think the first transgender character on Glee. But Alex started out on a little competition reality show called The Glee Project.
Oh, okay.
Which the Glee was so popular at one point that they had 2 seasons of a show where a bunch of young, hopeful actors were competing for a recurring role on Glee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what happened was on season 1 of The Glee Project, this is a kind of harping back to a Catherine McPhee. Alex didn't win. Alex was a runner-up, and so was Lindsay Price, which is kind of amazing because both of them were the runner-ups, and they had obviously, I think Alex ended up getting a series regular eventually because that character ended up being so well liked. But Lindsay Price and Alex went on to be on Broadway, and Lindsay was Elphaba on Wicked, and also played Janice right after we watched Mean Girls. She joined the Mean Girls cast and played Janice, and Janice sings The Only Song You Liked on Mean Girls, whatever that song was called, and which she had on YouTube, and I have it on one of our playlists. But so I just think we're kind of going back to Glee, and then we're kind of doing a lot of full circles this month. Once you're kind of in the musical group, you're going to kind of keep getting cast in there.
Oh, yeah, because once you have that skill and you're really good at, like, the acting, singing, dancing, I mean, you're what they call a triple threat.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into our episode summary, just because we have something really exciting that we made our own playlist.
Okay.
So it's going to be Jeff's Extraordinary Playlist and Anna's Extraordinary Playlist.
Oh, okay.
As we are going along, I will say, what is this song for you? Like, what does, kind of, each song kind of represents a mood in the episode, an emotion, and we're going to have those for each other. And maybe some other stuff along the way. But before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the song list because there are a lot.
All right.
And then, as I do the episode, I'll kind of mention that as well. Okay, so we open with, so Alex Newell's character, Mo, lives next door to Zoey, and she's awoken pretty much every morning by very loud singing by Alex, who has such an incredible singing voice. We open with Angel of the Morning, originally performed by Juice Newton, sung by Alex Newell. Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, originally performed by Wham, also sung by Alex Newell. We have All By Myself, originally performed by Eric Carmen, which I did not know that. Sung by Melinda Farrington as Lonely Woman. She was just an extra. What a Man, originally performed by Salt and Peppa, sung by Connie Chin. Karima Pakari and Carolyn Floor as three ogling women who more extras that just see like a hot guy. Help, originally performed by the Beatles, sung by Various as the crowd. Lean on Me, originally performed by Bill Withers, sung by Alex Newell. Alex Newell takes up a lot of real estate on the singing for this episode. Morning Has Broken, originally performed by Eleanor, I think, Farjan, sung by Alex Newell. My favorite song of the episode, Mad World, originally performed by Tears for Fears, but this is so the Tears for Fears song, Mad World, wasn't a huge hit in the U.S. Obviously, if you were a fan of Tears for Fears, you've heard the song before, but I think Tears for Fears, for a lot of people in America, Tears for Fears was more or less like a 1 or 2 hit wonder, but in the UK and in Europe, they had many hits. Australia, every other English-speaking country, Tears for Fears was huge, but Mad World they kind of have it more as like not upbeat, but it's a little bit faster of a song, whereas Gary Jules and Michael Andrews did a cover of it. It was at the end of Donnie Darko, which is what kind of made it famous, cover famous, and it's a very slow, very somber, a lot more fitting. This is like one of my favorites. I love this song so much. It's such a beautiful song. It's very sad, but a very beautiful song. Mad World, originally performed by Tears for Fears, covered by Gary Jules and Michael Andrews, sung on the show by John Clarence Stewart as Simon. All I Do Is Win, which was another one of my favorite scenes
All I Do Is Win, win, win.
Originally performed by DJ Khaled, featuring Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, T-Pain, and Rick Ross, sung by Michael Thomas Grant as Leaf, Kapir Talwalkar as Tobin, and the Bros at Work, which is what I've titled them. True Colors, originally performed by Cyndi Lauper, sung by Peter Gallagher as Mitch Clark. Good Morning, originally performed by Gene Kelly, Debbie Reynolds, and Donald O'Connor, sung by Alex Newell. And I Think I Love You, originally performed by, I put in quotes, the Partridge Family, sung by Skylar Astin as Max. I cannot find, I know David Cassidy and Shirley Jones were on that track of I Think I Love You, but there is no other credit. It is literally just says the Partridge Family. I'm like, okay, I know Susan Day, Danny Bonaducci, I know that they weren't singing, so I was just like,
I think I love you.
So I'm just like, is it just David Cassidy and Shirley Jones? Just, is it just them? It always just says the Partridge Family, which I just think is funny because they weren't singing or playing their instruments.
Hey, Sean Cassidy, I think, is having some sort of like Las Vegas residency.
Oh, really?
And he's like half brothers with David Cassidy. I think their mom is Shirley Jones. Or they have different moms, but the same dad, David Cassidy and Sean Cassidy.
Yeah, because David Cassidy, that was his stepmom. Shirley Jones is his stepmom.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to get into this plot summary. Before we do that, let me get to our list. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. We're going to start our playlist right here and now. What is your theme song?
I think I would do Lose Yourself by Eminem.
That is such a good one. And that's really funny that I also have an Eminem song on my playlist.
I know, when you said it, I was like, oh no, what is he going to have? But yeah, I decided Lose Yourself. I think it's
such a great song.
It's such a great song, and it just says a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think, I know Eminem gets a lot of credit in the music world, but I don't think he gets enough a lot of times.
Oh, yeah. He is a beautiful, beautiful lyricist.
Yeah. I think a lot of his bad boy image and that it's kind of an image. Well, not an image. I mean, I'm sure he portrays that. But I think that overtakes a lot of like his writing skills, his rapping skills, and just a lot of the messaging that he has in his music, and I just love that song.
Yeah. So I'm going to be a little predictable with mine because it's not only one of my favorite songs, but the first time I ever heard it. So I am a huge, and I know maybe you've never talked about this on the pod before, but I am like a huge fan of just like lyrics. Like,
me too.
I just, when I hear I think there are many people, and I didn't really know this, but there are a lot of people out there that just like listen to, and there's nothing wrong with this, that just like listen to songs because it sounds nice, or like they like how it, they just like how it sounds. But when I listen to a song, I like if I can, sometimes it's incoherent, but if I can, I love listening to lyrics, and I love learning what a song is about. But when I first heard this song, I was just like, I was in high school, I was a teenager, and I was like, this is the greatest song ever written. And it's every time I hear it, I'm like, I relate to the song so hard. It's Bad Reputation by Joan Jett.
Aww.
And basically, I don't have a bad reputation, but basically the song is just like, who cares what people think about you? Live your life and do your thing, and don't worry about what society or what people think about you. And that's just, to me, I think that's a great message for a song. I think my favorite part of it, and the part that I relate to it so much, is I don't care if you think I'm strange, I ain't gonna change. And I'm just like, that couldn't be more me if I tried. So it's just like, I mean, my kind of my whole life, especially when I was a kid. All right, so that's our theme song, and we are going to get into our episode. All right. Zoey Clark awakes in her San Francisco apartment to the sound of her neighbor Mo singing very loudly. She knocks on Mo's door and berates him for playing and singing his music so loudly, remarking that she has a huge day at work. As Zoey heads to work, Mo asks what music she is listening to. Zoey says he wouldn't know the band, but in reality, she is just listening to a podcast, which was really funny. Which is, I mean, kind of the thing now. I mean, like,
as you go to work, you listen to a podcast.
I did it. Yesterday.
I mean, it used to be like you would listen to an audio book, and now it's podcasts.
Or if you were my dad in the 90s and 2000s, it was AM talk radio.
Yeah, that
11:50 a.m. All right, at the Golden Gate Grind coffee shop, Zoey's best friend Max asks her if she's ready for her big day at work. Zoey confides in Max that she is very nervous. Max orders black coffee, and Zoey orders a non-fat latte. Max expresses annoyance at their boss, Joan Bennett, because she is making all the coders go after the promotion, and while Zoey really wants it, Max is content with the job he has. They arrive at their workplace, SPRQ Point, a vibrant tech company, where Zoey sees an attractive new coworker and greets him awkwardly. Max teases her, and the two discuss how complicated and exhausting Zoey's past relationships have been. Joan immediately calls Zoey into her office and asks why she would be a good manager. Zoey awkwardly touts her programming skills, but ultimately she gives a very lackluster review. So how are you so have you, I mean, this is just a very simple question. Have you ever gone for like a promotion, and is it hard for you to kind of compliment yourself? Like, is it really hard for you to kind of like be like, well, I'd be good at this position because, and then say all these positive things about you?
It is, because you know that other people are saying sort of the same things about themselves, right, because they're all applying for the same position. So you're also trying to not only just sell yourself, but sell yourself in a different way than you think other people are doing. And then sometimes that can be the wrong focus. You just need to focus on yourself, because I can't control what the other candidates are doing or saying in their interview. But it's also hard to put your resume into spoken word. Right. And I talk about that a lot with students in the sense of writing cover letters and just selling yourself and not sound like a complete butthole or buffoon or that you're being prideful, but isn't that the point of an interview, is to sell yourself? Yeah. So it's a very conflicting time.
Yeah, I think what makes it difficult for me with talking about that is like the whole idea of being delusional, and like the whole idea of saying all these things about yourself, but the person on the other side of the interview being like, you are thinking like you are none of these things. What are you talking about?
Well, I think the other thing in Zoey's interview that kind of why Joan was like, was she asked why she would be a good manager, and she was touting actual, like, her computer coding skills. That the coding skills, great, but how do you manage people? Like, how are you going to be a team leader of former fellow coworkers? Like, you're now going to be their manager,
right? And so she was asking her about like a recent project that they had done, which Zoey did not all of the work, but Zoey kind of led the charge and did a lot of the work, but didn't really, I think she was being really modest and was trying to give everybody credit instead of being like, everyone did a good job, but I ran the show. And she just couldn't say that. And sometimes you kind of need that. You kind of need to have that confidence in being like, no, like I'm a leader, because you can be a silent leader. You don't have to be, because I feel like that's how I am. I'm a manager, and I don't bark at people. I don't tell people what to do per se, but I do just kind of silently lead. And there is a benefit to it. I mean, like, people don't think you're an asshole. So I mean, like, that's always a plus. And
I can even say, like, an example of where I realized during an interview that I made a huge mistake to a question, and then realized sort of my own, I will admit, lackluster, like, decision-making skills. Yeah. You know that I change my mind incessantly.
What?
But, like, I had interviewed for AOPI's board of director elections, and they asked me about my ability to make decisions and leading a team. And I talked about a time where I had to lay off 2 of my 3 employees, and I talked about how I brought them together and let the 3 of them decide which 2 were going to, like, let them discuss it of how, you know, which one needed the job the most. So I didn't have to make the decision. I left it to them. And it was funny because they all were like, we'll let, you know, the second year law student, like, there were 2 3Ls versus the 2L. And they were like, we've got enough on our plate. And I should have just been like, okay, the 2 of y'all need to, like, you know, we'll let you go and just leave it to the 2L. But when I was saying that on the interview, I thought in my head it sounded great that I brought the team together and let them talk and make the decision, where they were asking me, when have you made a big, hard decision? Right. And I was like, yeah, that was not a great answer. Yeah, and I could see that in myself.
They weren't necessarily asking, when were you a good leader? They were asking you, when have you made, like, a tough decision?
Yes. And I was just like, I didn't make the decision. I let them do it. So, and I can totally take ownership that it's a struggle for me to make decisions sometimes on, especially, like, you know, someone's job. So anyway.
Okay. So after this, Zoey tells her coworker Leaf Donnelly that Joan wants to see him next. When Leaf asks how Zoey's interview went, another coder, Tobin Batra, makes lightly sexist remarks at Zoey, and Leaf defends Zoey. Max expresses sympathy that Zoey's interview did not go so well, and Zoey dejectedly replies that she just wishes she had news to tell her father. At Zoey's parents' house, her mother, Maggie Clark, spoon-feeds her father, Mitch Clark. Mitch has PCP, progressive supranuclear palsy, and cannot speak or move much. Zoey's older brother, David, enters with some pizza, and he has a mild argument with Zoey over what is best for their father. Later, Zoey tells her mother that she has been experiencing headaches and some eye pain, and they discuss Zoey's worry that she might have the same disease as her father. At her mother's suggestion, Zoey goes to get an MRI. The MRI tech asks if she'd like to listen to music while in the machine, but Zoey is dismissive and tells him to play whatever. So he plays It's the End of the World as We Know It and I Feel Fine by REM, which is really funny. So, okay, so this isn't a song that relaxes you, but it was meant. He asked, what is a song, or like, do you want some music to relax you? What's a song that always kind of like chills you out?
The first I will say is, I just love this song, Taking Chances by Celine Dion. I don't know why. I love it. I love her voice. And then the other one is kind of random, which she's also just did a residency in Las Vegas, and that is Ashley Simpson's Pieces of Me. It just sounds like, you know, she's singing about, you know, she's like on a Saturday just writing what's going to happen the next week or what happened this week, and it's just, she's just strumming along and singing. So I just love both of those songs. I think they're just, I could put those on in my car. They were probably two of the first songs that I downloaded when I got iTunes. Aww. And so I love both of those.
So I have 2 songs as well, which is funny.
Right.
I have I'm not a huge fan of Deftones. I mean, like, I listened to them in the late 90s and early 2000s, like every other millennial teenager. But they have an album called White Pony, which is just an insanely underrated album. And it's a song called Digital Bath. Digital Bath. And it is a beautiful song. It's very, like, I love, and if y'all don't know this about me, I love my mellow, melodic, atmospheric music. Radiohead's my favorite band, which kind of just sums up that genre completely. Speaking of Radiohead, I have How to Disappear Completely by Radiohead, which is another beautiful song, very, very relaxing. And I do have a third song, but I kind of just added it because we started watching Sense8, and it has an amazing soundtrack. And at the end of the first episode, they have a song by the Antlers and Sigur Rós, which is like, bring me back to 2006. That's what I was listening to in 2006. And it reminded me of another song from the Wicker Park soundtrack that I used to listen to all the time. And it's called We Have Found a Map on the Piano, and it's by a band called Mum. Another beautiful song, very piano heavy, very just very somber, very relaxing. Yeah, so this was probably the hardest category for me because that is just my genre. That's just my type of music. But yeah, so that is my 3. I originally had 2.
Aw.
All right, and so yeah, he plays It's the End of the World as We Know It by REM, and soon after an earthquake occurs. As the MRI machine shakes, the music playing alters her brain function. After her MRI, Zoey is talking to her mother on the phone when she thinks she hears the woman next to her singing. She asks the woman if she is singing to her, and although the woman scoffs at this, she then starts singing All by Myself out loud.
All by myself. Yeah.
Zoey interrupts the woman's song, but she denies that she ever sang. Zoey gets back on the phone with her mom, but she is distracted again by 3 women singing What a Man as a man walks by them on the sidewalk. Zoey keeps walking and sees a man start singing Help by the Beatles. All right, so this is one that it was hard for me to put into words, and I really kind of had to explain it to you literally right before we started recording because you were like, I don't have a song for this because I don't understand what you're asking me. Which I'm sorry about that. So I have a song that stresses you out. So obviously you don't want to listen to music that stresses you out. So that's not necessarily what I meant. It is kind of a song where I'm like, a song that like maybe reminds you of being stressed out, or maybe a song that like is very chaotic and it's very overstimulating. That's the word I have been trying to look for the last however long I came up with this idea.
I think I nailed this one for this question.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Turning Japanese by the Vapors.
That is such a good one.
It is just a song that like you're just like da 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 turning Japanese. I'm turning Japanese. I really think so. You know, you just can't help but like if you could see me if we recorded.
You went a little psycho when you sang that
just like started shaking my head and arms and my body. But that is just that song. You know, I just kept thinking, I'm like, what is a song that if I just put it on, I would go batshit crazy, like just dancing, and that is it. But it also just the words and the music also evoke that sort of stress feeling. So Turning Japanese by the Vapors.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
So I had the national anthem by Radiohead, not our country's national anthem. That's the name of the song.
Yes,
it's the song. It's that instrumental song that plays at the beginning of that episode of The Handmaid's Tale when they're about to like take over shit.
Oh yes, I love that song.
And it just gets really chaotic towards the end. It's just a very chaotic song, and it's very overstimulating because it's just all these instruments playing at once, and it's like you got the brass, you got the regular instruments, you got the synthesizer, and it's just so like overstimulating, but it's such a great song. The real song, so the song that like the first time I heard it, once again, heavy on the lyrics, the first time I heard it, the entire time I had this feeling, and I had this like nervous feeling in the pit of my stomach the first time I heard this song, because I didn't see the music video. I heard the song first, and it's Stan by Eminem. If you've never heard of that song before, it is, I mean, first of all, it's a very sad song because it's kind of the I would say a song that touches on parasocial behavior that it wasn't really being discussed in the early 2000s. And I recently watched a documentary about Eminem that was called Stans, and it was a really good documentary. But yeah, it's a song about one of Eminem's fans who in the music video is played by Devin Sawa, and it is about this fan who is obsessed with Eminem, thinks that him and Eminem should be together. He dyed his hair blonde. He has a pregnant girlfriend who he's going to name his daughter after Eminem's daughter. And it's just like, eventually the guy, Stan, kills himself and his pregnant girlfriend because Eminem won't respond to him. It's I remember the first time hearing it and I was just like, it was just like this song is stressing me out, but it's like such a great song. Dido sings like the chorus part and she has a beautiful voice. So yeah, those are my two. I could probably think of more, but that was
I just added one because you talked about Handmaid's Tale and it just reminded me of the other episode that had a great beginning. And that is Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift. Her re-recorded version, and that was at the beginning when the handmaids kind of took over the night. And anyway, so I love that song. Yeah. It just is like, bam! It just is like, look what you made me do.
Handmaid's Tale was really good at picking those kind of songs.
Oh yes, it had the songs that just evoked a lot of emotion out of them. So yeah, it was a good show for songs.
All right, so Zoey keeps walking and sees a man start singing Help by the Beatles. Gradually, many other people on the sidewalk join in. Zoey hops on a trolley to try to avoid them, but the people on the trolley start singing to her too. Everywhere Zoey runs, the song seems to follow her. When the song is over, all the people who are singing walk their separate ways as if nothing happened. Zoey runs back up to her apartment in shock. When she hears Mo singing again, she knocks on his door, wondering if he's singing to her. However, Mo seems to know he is singing, because Mo is always singing.
Yes.
Zoey runs in to his apartment and tells him that people are singing their thoughts to her. Mo accepts Zoey's story and tells her to tell him if it happens again. At work the next day, Tobin warns Zoey and Max that Joan is particularly upset. There are only 5 days until the launch of the SPRQ Point watch, and there is a bug in the health app giving inaccurate readings of people's blood pressure. Joan tells the coders they are going to have to work late until they solve the bug. Later that night, Zoey and Leaf are still working on the bug when Zoey hears something. She realizes that it is her attractive new coworker, Simon Haynes, and he is singing Mad World alone in his office while looking extremely pained and clutching a photo. So this is this was probably my favorite song of the episode. Once again, I love that song. He has a great voice. I mean, they all have great voices. I'm sure they're all trained singers, or at least like have experience with it. They all sound great. After hearing this, Zoey goes to a club called the Makeout Place and finds Mo, who is DJing for 70s night. And she tells Mo that she heard Simon singing, and she is confused because the song he was singing was so sad, but he appears to be charming and happy. Zoey thinks the song is called Mad World. And this starts kind of a running gag where Zoey doesn't always know the songs that people are singing, which I kind of have to say is a really funny thing that they added into it, which I mean, like, because the character is a Gen Z, so it's just like she's not going to know all of the
older songs. Yeah.
So Mo tells
I don't know all of the current songs,
exactly.
So I'm the opposite sometimes.
Yeah. So Mo tells Zoey he thinks the song may be a cry for help. Okay. So what is the song? So when we play our little top 3 game, I had a category of top 3 songs you listen to when you're in your feels. You don't have to do your top 3, but I have a song. So Mad World is kind of he's lamenting, and so what is the song that you listen to when you're in your feels?
I have Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. Aww. I love that song.
That's our song.
It is. I also have a sort of recent song. I love We Came Here for Love by Sigala. And then I have, you're going to be like, oh my God. I have Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan.
In your feels?
Yes, because I feel like it's a song that, I think a lot of people misinterpret it about the fact that she's working at a strip club, at a gay strip club. it's a song that's really about chasing your dreams.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, Mom, I'm sure you didn't have a dream for me to go work at a strip club, but I'm working here because I feel accepted. I feel like it brought me to the city where I want to be. That is a city that, you know, people go to, Los Angeles, for chasing dreams. And that is what the song is about. And it's funny that you were just talking about people don't know the words of the songs that they're listening to, or even what they're about, because they haven't been listening to the lyrics. And there was a lot of outrage about this song recently, because people were like, oh my God, she's singing about working at a strip club, and, you know, girls are doing dance recitals to this song. And I'm like, first off, 5-year-olds are not listening to the words of this song. But I just keep thinking about all the songs that we freaking danced and listened to when we were pretty young. I mean, Strokin', Pop That P Word, I mean, Push It. I mean,
wow,
you know,
we said it at the same time.
It's, you listen to it because of the music and the way it feels. And yes, sometimes the lyrics are obviously very, you know, somewhat sexual and stuff. But when I'm doing a line dance to Strokin', you know, that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm just doing a line dance at the club. I mean, there are many songs that have always, you know, evoked controversy and stuff, but I feel like, you know, Madonna was like the queen of that in the 80s and 90s with, you know, causing controversy with her lyrics, but you can't deny that they are amazing songs too. So Pink Pony Club, it's all about chasing your dreams. It's about
it's your playlist.
Yeah, it's my playlist, and I love that song. And yeah. All right, what are yours?
So I have a few because, once again, In My Feels, that is also a category of music that I love, of just kind of, you know, the slow, sad, somber type songs. Essentially anything by Mazzy Star, but I will specifically say Into Dust by Mazzy Star. Mm-hmm. I love Fade Into You, but that's more of like a love song for me. That's the song that Angus and Ariana Richards dance to in Angus. And I love that song for that.
I love that.
But Into Dust is just such a beautiful song. And then I have Street Spirit by Radiohead. And that is also was featured in Handmaid's Tale when they're escaping the van and cross the train tracks. It's all in slow-mo, and it was another scene that stressed... The song doesn't stress me out. That scene stressed me out. And then I have I Won't Give Up by Jason Mraz, Mr. A to Z.
Aww.
We love our Jason Mraz. And then I have Turning Tables by Adele, which for a really long time before I met you was kind of my theme song because it was really hard for me to get close to people. It was really hard for me to connect to people, and it was just easier to break things off rather than get close to someone, and that's what Turning Tables is about. I won't let you get close enough to hurt me. You know, that's what it's about. And so every time I hear that song, I'm just like, I love it. But then and then Gwyneth Paltrow sings it on Glee, and it's beautiful. I mean, I love Adele's version, obviously, but Gwyneth Paltrow could do no wrong. So, all right, those are mine.
Got it.
All right, the next day at work, all the coders are working on the bug. Clueless on how to solve it, Zoey approaches Simon at the cereal bar. After an awkward exchange, I want a cereal bar.
Me too.
By the way, I want a cereal bar. After an awkward exchange where Zoey mentions that her dad is dying and asks Simon if he's secretly miserable, he asks if she wants to take a walk. Zoey and Simon leave work and eat cheesequakes, which I don't know what that is. I guess it's some West Coast thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Zoey and Simon stand near the Golden Gate Bridge, and Simon asks Zoey about her grief. Zoey asks if one of Simon's parents is also dying, and he tells her that his dad committed suicide 5 months ago. Simon tells Zoey to take advantage of the time she still has with her dad. Later at the Clark home, Zoey tells her mother about her crush on Simon. She tells her mom she's worried about her and her dad. Maggie says they're fine, but she expresses remorse that she can't communicate with Mitch anymore. Which Mary Steenburgen couldn't be more of like a sympathetic type person. She's such a great actress.
Her voice is just that like
she's one of those actresses that like I wouldn't off the top of my head say she's one of my favorites, but thinking about it, I'm like, I love everything that she's in.
Yeah.
So it's just like I love
I loved her since Time After Time with Malcolm McDowell back in the 80s before she was really super popular. I loved her in that movie.
That's such a good movie. That's such a good movie. We need to watch that.
Oh, yeah.
At SPRQ the following day, Simon approaches Zoey while she is sitting with Max and tells her she can lean on him if she needs to. Zoey tells Max she bonded with Simon. Later, Joan tells Zoey the promotion is down to her and one more person. After this, Leif and Tobin badger Zoey about whether Joan was giving Zoey an edge in the competition. Though Leif pretends to be on Zoey's side, he starts singing All I Do Is Win with the other coders. All right, what's the song? So I couldn't be like, what's a song that makes you competitive? Because that's not a thing. So All I Do Is Win, I mean, first of all, is a banger, and it is a very upbeat song, and I will say it is a song that can get you pumped up. So what is a song that gets you pumped up, that like gets you energetic, puts you in a good mood, gets you motivated?
I have Don't Go by Yaz. Is one of them.
That's a good one.
I just love Yaz. I love any of their songs. They can also get me in my feels, like
Only You,
Midnight, all of those. Obviously, Stand Up and Get Crunk by the Yin Yang Twins for my Saints.
Of course. Oh, yeah, for the Saints. I gotcha.
Stand Up. Okay, and then I can't sing again. Jeff is cracking up. I can't sing. I can admit that about myself.
No, it's just funny because when you do it, you do your hand motion and stuff. It's just so funny.
And then anything,
I'm okay.
And then anything by the Go-Go's. I love the Go-Go's. They're my gals. Any song, even if they're melancholy-ish songs, like kind of get me pumped up. And then, I will also say just about anything from Taylor Swift. I mean, I can put on her playlist on, my phone and just
Shake It Up is a good one.
So, any of those.
Okay, so I have Separate Ways by Journey. So Journey is another great band that gets that can get you pumped up and also get you in your feels. But I will say Separate Ways is like such a, like, as soon as like the I'm just like I'm in. The Stranger Things remix is awesome. I have Sincerely Me by Newfound Glory. That's one of my emo bands from the late 90s and early 2000s.
Emo.
That's a song that I listened to it last night. It is just such a really fast, upbeat. That's kind of all that band does. A lot of their music. And then I have Sheena is a Punk Rocker by the Ramones. I love that song so much. That's a song I can listen to over and over again. They played at the beginning of Rock and Roll High School, which I always think about because it made the whole school start dancing. And so I'm like, what other song in my mind at least could get you pumped up? Those are mine. I mean, obviously, so many more. We both love music, so yeah. Though Lee pretends to be on Zoey's side, he starts singing All I Do Is Win with the other coders. Zoey is taken aback at this as she learns that essentially all her male co-workers, with the exception of Max, are against her. After the song is over, Leaf still panders to Zoey. Later, Zoey buys 2 cheesequakes when she runs into Simon. She asks him if she can talk to him, but Simon's fiancée, Jessica, interrupts. They have an awkward exchange before Zoey leaves. At the Clark home, Zoey vents to her dad about her troubles at work, her new superpower, and having a crush on an engaged man. As she is crying to her dad, he starts singing. So this is like, he doesn't speak. He's catatonic. He doesn't move. He starts singing True Colors to her. Okay, so before we get into that, I'm just going to kind of say, I know that this was meant to be a very emotional moment. And it was a moment that I was kind of like expecting and like waiting for. I'm like, okay, well, the dad obviously is going to start singing at some point because he can't speak, but she can hear his thoughts. I feel like they could have picked a better song. I love True Colors. I love that song. That's not what I'm saying, but like, I feel like they could have picked a better song. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know how popular or unpopular of opinion that is. I wanted to have more emotions over this, but I didn't. I was much more moved at the end when they're at the very end. I was much more moved by that, but I'm just kind of going to go out on a limb. I'm not trying to ruin anyone's vibe. If they really love this show and love this episode, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say there are so many other songs that they could have, I don't have any off the top of my head, but like, there are just a lot of other songs that they could have picked. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Who knows why they picked it? I mean, what was in their head, but...
Okay, so for this, I kind of have, like... We kind of already said, like, songs in your feel, so I can't be like, what's a song that makes you sad? So, I mean, like, or what's an emotional song for you? So I have a song that this moment, even though it's an emotional moment for Zoey, it is a little inspirational for her. It is a little bit, like, motivating for her. So I will say, what is a song that inspires you, makes you happy, gives you a good vibe?
I'm back to Taylor Swift again.
Of course you are.
And I'm not like I'm a Swiftie, but not like total.
Yes, you are.
I have The Man by Taylor Swift, so I just feel like she was just, and especially coming off of the fact that she had just also learned that her coworkers were against her. And so I felt that was a very fitting one, but it's also one of my go-to Taylor songs if I'm, driving to one of my schools or have my headphones on the plane, heading to some accounts in another state. It's just a song that, don't underestimate me. Don't, write me off, because if I were a man, it would be different, but I'm not, but I can still prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And it's very inspiring. So I love that. I think it also goes kind of to this era that I'm sort of feeling right now. And I, will be really honest, is with all the technology and things, and this being about a technology show, being an old, like, I just actually was typing to my coworkers that they have a new manager group chat, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, I want an old manager group chat, and there are only 3 of us and there are like 10 of them, so I'm just like, it is sometimes hard to, when people underestimate you and, having to compete with now younger managers, but also proving that your veteran status is also valuable. So The Man inspires me. So what about you?
So the song that inspires me, a song that inspires me, it's Change by Blind Melon. It's a very pretty song, but it's I kind of needed to look up like what the song is actually about, just in case I was incorrect, because sometimes you don't know what songs are about, even though the lyrics may say something else. But it is a song about embracing growth, resilience, and the inevitability of life's changes. So it's just about like taking things as they come, just kind of taking, accepting what life throws at you, that kind of whole idea. And it's just a very pretty song, beautiful. Honestly, when I first heard that song, I didn't know that Blind Melon had other hits or other songs, like, because they have, what's it called? No Rain, which by the year 1998, I was sick of that song. So, because I heard it so much, and the music video played like every 5 seconds on MTV. So it was just like, I was over it. I never really heard any other songs by Blind Melon until I was in someone's car, and they had Blind Melon's Greatest Hits, which I was like, Greatest Hits? And no offense to Blind Melon, but I didn't know they had other songs or other hits. And then this song played, and I was just like, oh, I really like this song. I'm like, what's the name of the song? Or I like looked at what track it was. So this was this was before we had iPhones, and I looked at what track it was. I didn't ask what song it was, but I looked up Blind Melon's Greatest Hits when I got home, and then looked at see what track 5 was, and then found out it was called Change.
Gotcha.
So and then I have another one more, and it's less of an inspirational song and more of just a good vibe song, and it's When It's Good by Ben Harper, which I'm also another musician that I don't listen to very often. I don't have anything against Ben Harper. I just don't really listen to his music. But when I first heard When It's Good, I'm like, okay, this is a song that like puts me in a good mood. It's very like, upbeat, and it kind of just puts me in a good mood. And it's a song that sends me good vibes.
Oh.
All right. So, as she is crying to her dad, he starts singing True Colors to her. Zoey is overcome with emotion, as it is evident that her dad is still processing everything around him, and she is able to dance with him. I'm not going to say that moment wasn't sweet. I'm just saying the song. That's all I'm saying. That whole scene was very sweet.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the song, Mitch reverts back to his vegetative state. Zoey runs to the kitchen and tells Maggie and David that Mitch is still processing and that they should take him sailing. So sailing was something that he loved before his disease took over, and that was
their family.
That was what they always did as a family. At SPRQ point, Simon tells Zoey that he opened up to Jessica about his grief, but that he doesn't think she relates to him like Zoey does. When Simon mentions a lack of communication between the two, Zoey has an epiphany and realizes that the app and the Point Watch are not communicating. Zoey tells her fellow coders how they should process to solve the bug. In Joan's office, Zoey finally gives her a confident answer as to how she would be a good manager. Later, Zoey and her family take Mitch sailing, and Mitch is able to clasp Maggie's hand. That was the part that made me start crying. That was the part where I was like, I'm in. I was just like, I want to keep watching the show.
Me too. I was like, oh my God.
The following morning, Zoey wakes up to Mo singing, but seems to appreciate it this time. Leaf and Tobin congratulate Zoey on her promotion. Max also congratulates Zoey, and Zoey thanks Max for being there for her. Suddenly, Max starts singing I Think I Love You to Zoey, revealing that he has feelings for her. So this was also one that she had never heard of before, so she didn't know the chorus, and she didn't know what Skylar Astin's character was about to say, which was also kind of funny. I'm really looking forward to that part of the show where she doesn't know the music. So this is a final one. I'm not going to say a love song because that's too broad and that's too easy. What I am asking you is, what is a song that reminds you of us?
It just will be like two of our wedding songs.
Okay.
Because if I hear them, it immediately goes to that. 1,000 Years by Christina Perri.
Oh yeah,
and then Perfect by Ed Sheeran.
Yes.
And it does. Well, one also because 1,000 Years is also Twilight, and you and I love like ragging on the Twilight movies.
Yes.
I mean, well, I love them, but we can also love hate on them too.
And I've said a million times over, I've never really watched the movies, but I love the soundtracks.
Yes.
And I love the music.
Yeah.
So I've talked, especially the first
Radiohead,
Twilight.
Of course, yeah.
Especially the first Twilight has a banger of a soundtrack. So you're going to be surprised. A song that reminds me of us is a Taylor Swift song. It's called Mine by Taylor Swift, but the version that I like to listen to, sorry T Swift and Swifties, I love hearing the Glee version sung by Naya Rivera. Because I love her voice. Santana was one of my favorite characters. I love Naya Rivera, R.I.P. And the first time I heard that song, it was before we met, obviously, but the first time I heard that song, it was one of those where it was like, I want that. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I want to feel this way about someone. And it's just a song, a very simple song, and it's just about a girl who's in a relationship with someone, and it's just about like unconditional love, and it's about like loving someone through the struggles and through the bad times and the good times. And there's a part at the very end, every time I hear it, I start tearing up. That's why I say I love music. I love lyrics, and if it's a good enough lyric, it will make me cry. So I mean, like and I remember hearing the last part of Mine, and I'm just like, that's me and my boo. You know, that's kind of what I think of. So end of episode, by the way.
End of episode.
I mean, the show is so cute. The show is so good. I mean, like all the three shows, other than Glee, the three other shows we have this month are shows that I wanted to immediately keep watching, which I think speaks volumes, because I can't necessarily say that about every show that we do on this podcast. I mean, like, there are times where I'm like, oh, I'd continue watching that if blank, blank, blank. You know, it's like if
we had an infinite amount of time.
But these three shows that we're doing this month, other than Glee, I was like, immediately wanted to keep watching the show, and it was a lot more enticing that they didn't have a lot of episodes.
Yeah, there were only like 2 seasons and 20 episodes or something. Yeah.
So it's on Peacock. It's not. You don't even have. Once again, just like Smash, you don't even have to be a fan of musicals. Because it's the jukebox.
It's more music.
It's jukebox musical, and it's not show tunes. It's just like it's just popular songs. So I mean, and they do it in a way that's very funny, very emotional, very dramatic,
and well threaded throughout. It's not like, you know, it's constant songs. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So
and and I think they don't do nearly as many songs in future episodes. I think they did it for this one
just to get you started.
Kind of get you used to it. All right, you think that wraps up this one?
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up this episode of We Judge a Show by its pilot. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. That way you'll be notified every time we publish a new episode. You can follow us on Instagram at We Judge Pilot Pod. We're also on Facebook. You can leave us a comment, suggest a show for us to watch, or leave some emojis in the comments. What you got?
The music notes, the radio, and the microphone. Computers, the coffee cup, the house, the parents, the brain, pizza, the eye, the earth, the iPhone for the apps, the bowl of cereal, the Golden Gate Bridge, cheese, boat, and the hands.
Oh.
All right, well, we are going to head out, but we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.